Welcome to Transcend Awards. Policy duties in schools and childcare environments. Duties associated with safety management. By law, the employer in a school must take all reasonable steps to ensure that staff and pupils are not exposed to risks to their health and safety. This applies to activities on or off school premises. The employer, or in the case of independent schools and childcare providers, the proprietor, is accountable for the health and safety of school staff and pupils. Schools must appoint a competent person as the health and safety officer to ensure they meet their legal and ethical duties in this area. Duties associated with safety management. A competent person is someone who is able to give sensible guidance about managing the health and safety risks at the school based on knowledge, skills, experience. This knowledge, skills, and experience must include a sound understanding of health, safety, and risk assessment practices, in addition to an innate knowledge of the school and all risk scenarios specific to the organisation, its infrastructure, stakeholders, and activities. The head teacher and school management team are often selected to oversee health, safety, and risk assessment, although an external source can be subcontracted to do this. Duties associated with safety policy. Schools and childcare providers are required to have a health and safety policy in place, which should include the commitment statement reflecting a legal and ethical approach to health and safety, the delegated responsibilities for the overall health and safety and allocated to specific areas, the commitment statement reflecting a legal and ethical approach to health and safety, the delegated responsibilities for the overall health and safety and allocated to specific areas, the arrangement for risk assessment and practical measures to control risks through safe operating procedures, the health and safety performance review approach designed to demonstrate compliance with health and safety standards. Duties associated with health and safety approaches. To ensure legal compliance and also to reassure the Department of Education of the commitment to health and safety, the following areas are likely to be embedded into the policy as a minimum. Arrangements for managers and responsible individuals associated with health and safety. Arrangements for the regular organisational risk assessment process across the infrastructure and all routine activities. Arrangements for consulting with and involving employees on risk and safety operating procedures. Arrangements for periodic site inspections which would indicate a whole school review during a time of major change and pandemic. Arrangements for non-routine events, activities and off-site visits and supplementary risk assessments, including for residentials and adventure activities. Arrangements for health and safety induction training and monitoring, including ability to assess risk. Duties associated with health and safety approaches. To further ensure legal compliance and also to reassure all regulatory bodies and users of the commitment to health and safety, the following areas are also likely to be embedded into the policy as a minimum. Arrangements for recording and reporting of accidents to staff, pupils and visitors, referencing RYNAT processes. Arrangements for emergency operating procedures and contingency plans. Arrangements for health and safety performance monitoring and reporting on the effectiveness of the approach. Arrangements for first aid and occupational health services. Arrangements on the approach to accidents and incident investigation to understand causes. So how is infectious disease managed? Duties associated with policy for infectious disease. Schools and childcare providers will refer to a policy for the management of infectious disease. As infections are common in the school and childcare environment, the approach to the management of infectious disease will be integral to the overall health and safety approach. It should be included within the organisational risk assessment procedures and safety performance monitoring activities. The results from the risk assessment will instigate safe operating procedures as a control measure to prevent the development and spread of infectious diseases in the environment. The safe operating procedures will refer to the methods in place to prevent the spread of infectious disease, mitigate the effects of infectious disease outbreaks. This will include clear procedures for hygiene and exclusion rules in accordance with DfE and HSE guidance. Duties associated with policy for infectious disease. The health and safety policy will outline the approach to emergency operating procedures. This will include contingencies in the event of a crucial incident or catastrophe. The DfE confirm that health and safety emergency action plans should consider serious injury to a pupil or member of staff, for example, a transport accident, significant damage to school property, for example, due to a fire, criminal activity, for example, a bomb threat, severe weather, for example, flooding, disaster in the local community, public health incidents, for example, an infectious disease pandemic. As you can see, infectious disease is embedded into emergency operated procedures. Duties associated with pandemics. Schools and childcare providers have emergency operating procedures for pandemics. These are generally associated with a pandemic that occurs in a class, the school, or local community. Like the rest of the world, nothing could have prepared schools for the impact of the recent coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic, which has brought countries across the world to a standstill. As a result, every school's health and safety has had to be subject to full review. Every school has also had to conduct a full organisational risk assessment as the virus impacts on all aspects of school life and its stakeholders. Duties of the school's strategic senior leaders. The school's senior leaders should have taken all reasonable steps to ensure the policy considers the safe systems that are in place to prevent, mitigate and manage infectious disease. Have taken all reasonable steps to ensure a full organisational risk assessment has been conducted that considers the current pandemic. Have taken all reasonable steps to ensure that brand new safe operating procedures embed social distancing measures and hygiene controls. Have taken all reasonable steps to ensure that brand new safe operating procedures embed procedures to mitigate the effect of an infectious disease detection and incident. Have taken all reasonable steps to ensure revised emergency operating procedures consider contingencies and disaster recovery plans for infection catastrophes. Duties of the school management team. If you are a member of the management team, you must ensure you are familiar with the health and safety policy and practices and can articulate this to other staff. If you are a member of the management team expected to contribute to risk assessment, can you confirm that you are trained in this area and are comfortable with what is expected from you? If not, you must inform your head teacher. If you are a member of the management team, can you confirm that you are fully aware of your role in the event of a critical incident or catastrophe associated with infectious disease? Duties of the school workforce. As a member of the school workforce that is not part of the team that manages health and safety, can you confirm that you are familiar with the health and safety policy and all procedures associated with infectious disease? That you are familiar with the risk assessment results and understand the safe and emergency operating procedures? That you have been consulted with on infectious disease practice and you feel comfortable with what is expected of you? It is the employer's duty to provide you with the instructions and training, but it is your duty also to solicit information and be proactive if you have concerns, which you must raise with your head teacher. Your voice and knowledge is essential to the safety of the children. Thank you for watching. Feel free to watch as many times as you need or move on to the next part of your digital learning experience on your list.